What's going on, guys? Sin for the win here, and pretty big trade was made. Not the one I wanted, but a pretty big trade was made in San Jose, acquiring Evander Kane for a conditional first in 2019 and a fourth, which I think was in 2019, maybe it was 18. Oops, forgot. I should have it right here, but it takes I have to click a couple things to find the trade, man. Can't be bothered. Anyway, and also Danny O'Regan ships off. So now I think it's a pretty good deal, despite what I already think of Evander Kane. So, that aside, you guys already kind of know what I think about him, in his track record and stuff like that. I think I've mentioned it a couple times in the chirping videos especially. But, yeah, all in all, I think both teams got what they want. Buffalo got some picks, a prospect who I don't really think is going to be much of anything besides maybe a third, fourth liner. And yeah, Sharks get what they're looking for. Now, what we need to understand is the condition of that pick, because that plays a big role in this. If the Sharks re-sign Evander Kane, extend him or re-sign him after this season, that the first becomes a second. And that's a pretty big deal. Between a first and a second, yeah, it's a pretty big deal. So that's really good. I'm not even mad about that return. Doug Wilson, he's really good at these kind of trades, like acquiring these kind of bigger name deals at deadlines. I mean, he doesn't do them too much, but when he does them, I mean, it definitely makes waves. Now, we have to remember, it's not all about performance on the ice, and this is where my gripes about Evander Kane come in. In the past, a lot of behavioral problems, like late to practices and shit, even partying, all this other stuff. You know, a lot of young guy stuff. So I hope at his age now he's kind of grown out of that, as many of us do, and he's matured as a person and a player, because we really need that. And it's a bit of a wild card, because have we seen this guy in the I don't remember seeing this guy ever in the playoffs. I don't think when he was on Winnipeg, he was in the playoffs, maybe one series in there, but he doesn't really have a playoff track record. So that being said, we're not really sure what's going to happen in that regard. But what we're lacking in the Sharks department was goal scoring, which he brings, and a lot of physical play from our forward end, which he brings. We have Timo Meier and Hurdle, who have kind of been developing that game, but come the playoffs, we're going to need harder guys. Jumbo, he can't really play as physical as he used to in the past, man. Dude, 38, he's, playing through injuries and stuff like that. Pavelski, he can be physical when he wants to, but he's only 5'11". Couture has never really been a big physical guy. So with an addition of another physical goal scorer, I think it really can benefit us in that regard. But again, it'll all depend on how this guy fits in to the team, fits in the role, like on the lines. And the biggest thing I'm worried about is the locker room. Sharks locker room this year has come a long way from a few years ago, when they were certain ones were quoted as saying we kind of feel like coworkers, and it's like, that's the worst thing you want to hear in a hockey team. You don't want to feel like coworkers. And but the past few years the Sharks have really bonded, and making it to the Stanley Cup definitely helps. But in a lot of other ways, their locker room, you can just tell, on the bench, the things they do, especially during shootouts, they have all these little new things that they'll do with each other, and you can just tell that the team is a lot closer than it was a few years ago. So my biggest worry is that somehow Evander Kane would put a stake in that and kind of put that in jeopardy, because you need to have a closer locker room going in the playoffs. If your team isn't close, man, you don't play as a unit, you're done. Plain and simple, you are done in the playoffs. You cannot play as individuals. You have to play as teams. So that's my biggest worry. But all that aside, let's think about the future. Let's see what this entails. Should the Sharks sign Evander Kane? What's his price? $6 million? Depends. I mean, what, he's making five something right now? 5.25, I think it is. About $6 million would make sense. If they don't re-sign him, they have a ton of cash going into free agency. Tavares. And even if they don't, or even if they do sign Kane, Jumbo's making $8 million this year. He's off contract next year. Is he going to come back? Don't know. If he does, it's got to be for a lot less money. He's suffering through injuries. He hasn't put up the same kind of production. He's on the older side of things. He may, in fact, look at retirement and go towards Sweden. I think it's going to have a lot to do with how the Sharks do in the playoffs as well. But even with that, like I said, if Evander Kane is signed and Jumbo leaves, That's still a lot of money that the Sharks have to work with in free agency. Still able to perhaps pursue Tavares. Bit of a long shot, yes, but I could maybe see it happening. Doug Wilson doesn't have the best free agency record, but when you consider why he brought in the players he has in the past few years, brought in Bodker mostly for the speed game, and he's put up decent numbers. I mean, I wouldn't call that a bust of a it's pretty low risk, high reward. Hasn't paid off in the high reward category, but that's all right. Brought in Martin Ward. Now, Martin and Ward is a bit different. The first year they are in there, Sharks make it to the Stanley Cup. Second year, not so much, and this year they've both completely kind of fallen off, but again, low risk, sort of a high reward. Didn't win a cup out of it, but we made it. We got, and kind of got milked as much hockey out of those two guys as you really could. But the next couple years are going to be very interesting for Sharks fans. There's a lot of options we can go. There is always that rebuild option in a couple years to become sellers, but the issue with that is having Vlasic and Burns locked in for such long term, it'll be harder to move them at that point. And that's what you'd have to think about. So I think the Sharks are going to look to make big moves when it comes to free agency. That's my thought about it, at least. But yeah, I think I pretty much tackled everything. Pretty damn good trade. The future is going to be interesting. I'm not too sure what's going to happen, but hell, it's going to be interesting no matter what. But yeah, winner in the trade, I can't really see one. Like I said, both teams kind of got what they want, what they needed. If anything, I think maybe the Sharks come out on the better end of things simply because of the conditions that were made, especially for that first, like the first becoming second. That's a pretty big deal, and really Danny O'Regan's kind of nothing, and a fourth is a fourth. So for that price tag, I'd say it's a really good deal. But at the same time, Buffalo kind of gets what they want anyway. So I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think about the deal, taking all the things into account, especially Evander Kane on the personal side of things, because that is gonna be a wild card. I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This will be a bit of a short video, but what the hell else am I going to talk about besides what I wanted for that Erik Karlsson deal to go through? Man, wouldn't that be sick? Oh, like, just think about that. Karlsson on the point. Burns back to forward. Sharks have a stacked top six again. Boom. But whatever. Perhaps not meant to be. No one got Karlsson. I'm going to laugh so hard if they somehow lose him free agency. I will laugh very hard. It'll be hilarious. Anyway. So, yeah, let me know all you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Don't forget to hit that like button. That's what pays me. No, just kidding. I don't fucking know. You don't have to hit the like. You can dislike it for all I care. It counts the same in the YouTube analytics anyway. Well, not the analytics, the algorithm that boosts your video up. So, yeah, for those of you who dislike, videos, thank you. It helps, actually. Bam! All right, guys, so I'll see you in some other time. I don't know, whenever I feel like showing my face on camera. It's not very often, because fuck you, that's why. Just kidding. I love you guys. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you whenever the hell I post again.